We're living in a super crazy time right now, and obviously nobody who's alive right now has lived through anything like this before. But as a history teacher, my first instinct when all of this pandemic and outbreak and quarantining was starting was to look back in history at the last time something like this had happened. In the early 1340s, almost 700 years ago, the biggest pandemic the world has ever seen began to break out. It spread from Asia over to Europe, and they called it the Black Death. It was called the Black Death because you would have black lumps appear either between your legs or in your armpits, and within 2 to 7 days, you would be dead. The pandemic was so lethal that it killed between 75 to 200 million people. Historical records get a little fuzzy, which is why that range is so big, but that was a lot of people. Some people think as much as 60% of Europe's entire population died from the Black Death. Now, one of the major questions you always get about the Black Death is how were they able to stop it if they didn't have the modern medical technology that we do? It's pretty simple. They used a method that we may be pretty familiar with called quarantining. They learned that if they quarantine the sick people away from the healthy people, it slows the spread of the disease, fewer people get sick, and eventually the pandemic dies down. The end of the Black Death came around 1352 or 53, and most historians believe that the Black Death is what directly led to the Renaissance. Now, the Renaissance is one of the greatest epochs of human flourishing in recorded history. We had artists like Da Vinci creating masterpieces like the Mona Lisa. Michelangelo painted the Sistine Chapel. Brunelleschi made his dome. Advances were made in mathematics. Dante wrote his legendary Divine Comedy, which really shaped the following hundreds of years leading up to today. People like Shakespeare were alive during the Renaissance. The Reformation happened as a result of all the new thinking, the new way of thought that was happening. It was an unprecedented, unparalleled time of advancement in human history. Why did something as tragic as the Black Death lead to such an immense time of human flourishing in the Renaissance? There are many factors at play, some of which we can learn from today. The Black Death reminded everybody that human life is a fragile thing, and that one day, each and every one of us will someday die as well. This caused people in the Renaissance to focus on things that really, really matter, the matters of life and of death. This is one reason that much of the art created during the Renaissance is so majestic and huge in its scope. The Black Death also created a lot of social mobility for the people of the time because with 60% of the population dead, it opened new doors which may not have been opened before if the Black Death had never happened. Hopefully today we'll be able to return to a relatively normal society the way it was, but perhaps new opportunities will be available for people which may not have been available if it weren't for the spread of COVID-19. And while it's never a good thing that a lot of small businesses are closing down, it may make room for more creative ventures to open up in the future. Human beings are pretty creative people, and I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out of all of this recession and loss and closure. It might lead to an entirely new way of doing business altogether. One thing this quarantine has caused a lot of people to do is to become more creative. A lot of people have started podcasts or YouTube channels or picked up the pencil and drawn for the first time in years. Who knows what kind of creativity will come as a result of this quarantine. Another reason I'm optimistic about life after the coronavirus is because of the global unity that we seem to be experiencing right now. Maybe not everybody, but most humans alive right now are united against this invisible, microscopic enemy. And it'll be cool to see how this unity carries on into the future. A couple side benefits of this quarantine have been the reduction of pollution in the air and water, and the reduction of car accidents because fewer people are on the roads. It may seem like there's a lot of tragedy and death in the news right now, and there is, but by looking at the Black Death and the ensuing Renaissance, I want to remain hopeful that something good could come out of all of this. Humanity has faced threats worse than the coronavirus in the past, and as we face this one and look beyond it into the next chapter of history, I hope that we can remain hopeful and optimistic for what can come next. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to you soon.